coasters, dark rides, and what in the world did I just experience? We're here to tell you about the best Disney rides around the globe today on DFV Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and I'm here to talk about the single best ride in every Disney park, so you know which ones need to prioritize above all the rest. And we're not just in the domestic parks today, y'all. We're choosing winners across every single Disney park worldwide, so things are about to get really exciting, and maybe a little tense too. Remember, today's video is all in good fun. It's a-okay if you don't agree with every ride winner on today's list. We're just here to let you know why we think these rides are the elite of the Disney parks. But you can always let us know in the comments which rides are on the top of your list. Okay, I'm excited. This is gonna be great. Let's go. Oh wait, this is really hard. We're starting in Disneyland, and I'm not gonna lie, this might have been the hardest park out of the bunch to choose just one winner for. There are over 20 rides here, and many of them are absolute Disney park classics, and I will be destroyed if I don't include them in this list. That being said, after talking things over with the rest of the DFB team and fighting as I usually do with Miss Bria, we've decided to give the Disneyland top spot to, drumroll please, Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, there's something extra special about Disneyland's version of Pirates. Okay, actually a few somethings. For starters, this ride cruises past the Blue Bayou restaurant to give us a leisurely moment under the stars while the soft sound of crickets chirp nearby. And this version of Pirates also does a great job with story pacing, giving us some extra scenes as well as an additional little drop hill to illustrate transporting back into the past. And this is my favorite part. Dead Man's Cove here is the best. You float through this huge cavern scene before the actual ride starts, and it's so beautifully unsettling. Lots of skeletons, dilapidated scenes, dead men tell no tales. It's immersive, it's chilling, you have no idea what's coming next. It is incredibly cool and much bigger than you would expect it to be when you're looking at the ride itself. Okay, even though I absolutely believe Pirates of the Caribbean deserves that top spot today, it would just be wrong to move into the next point without at least giving you some honorable mentions. You know we're all about the honorable mentions here at DFB Guide. Okay, Disneyland's version of Space Mountain. This is one of my all-time favorite family roller coasters. Each vehicle in Disneyland's version seats 2 people per row versus Magic Kingdom's only seating 1 person per row. And while I'm usually someone who prefers the extra personal space, I do prefer the 2-seaters on Space Mountain so that my kid can sit right next to me and not feel like he's hurtling through the pitch blackness all by his lonesome. Space Mountain in Disneyland is also an all-around smoother coaster ride than the version you'll find in Magic Kingdom. Sorry, not here to just keep bashing Magic Kingdom Space Mountain, except kind of I am. Anyway, when it comes to more of the classics that aren't coaster-based, I'm, of course, a huge fan of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I really battled to get this to take our first top spot today, but, you know, I understand that Pirates is in a league of its own, but Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, you guys, and the Storybook Land canal boats. I get it. Not everyone's gonna love Mr. Toad's quirky ways, what with his cardboard cutout-like props and final showdown with the devil. That being said, Mr. Toad is usually a relatively short wait and features some more thrilling elements that make it a little kookier than your typical Disney dark ride. You got those sharp turns, those strobe lights, and the sudden train that, you know, kills you. Meanwhile, Storybook Land canal boats may not be the most thrilling ride out there, but it is so sweet. You get to float in a boat past various Disney realms, including the Village of Arendelle and Elsa's Ice Palace, the city of Agrabah and the Cave of Wonders, Toad Hall from the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I just like Mr. Toad, okay? He's a funny little dude. And get this, soon Rapunzel's Tower is going to be added to this classic Disneyland ride as well. You're going to be able to spot Rapunzel's Tower between the Patchwork Quilt and Toad Hall when the attraction reopens this winter. Now, Haunted Mansion in Disneyland deserves some extra love too. After all, it just recently revamped that outdoor queue, expanding out to wrap around the mansion's gardens, added a new and arguably way more terrifying version of the Constance Hatchaway Ghostly Bride, and receives that seasonal Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, which you're not going to get in too many other places. And we should give an extra shout out to Disneyland's newest ride, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This log flume was once known as Splash Mountain, but after a major overhaul, the ride reopened with the same track and the same 5-story drop. But instead of Song of the South, we've now got state-of-the-art Princess and the Frog animatronics to be on the lookout for. Tiana's Bayou Adventure also also opened up in Magic Kingdom and is very similar to what you can expect to find over in Disneyland. But because Disneyland's version is actually a little smaller than Magic Kingdom's, many folks claim Disneyland's is a better version overall, because it feels like all the space is being used to a better level than it is in Magic. In Magic Kingdom, you're just kind of floating past a lot of flowers all the time. Okay, leaping and bounding to the international parks for a minute, let's talk about how Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast in Tokyo Disneyland isn't just the best ride in this park, but may very well be one of the best dark rides I've ever been on, ever. Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast is located in Tokyo Disneyland and takes place inside the Beast's castle. After winding your way around the castle corridors, you'll be led to the main foyer to listen to a quick recap of Beast's fate during a stunning pre-show, which is all in Japanese, by the way, but if you're already familiar with the Beauty and the Beast story, you'll get it. For the actual ride, you're going to board a giant teacup, which will transport you into the story of Belle and Beast. And this is so stunning, like beautiful. The animatronics are top tier, the musical numbers are bubbly and cheery and really cool to hear in another language, and there's that jiggly jello, what I absolutely love, and the magical transformation that happens at the very end. I don't want to give everything away, but I am still refusing to understand how they pull this whole thing off. But hey, much like Disneyland Park in California, don't want to skip over any Tokyo Disneyland rides that deserve more of a mention, even if they're not taking the gold title today. So when it comes to honorable mentions, let's give a warm round of applause to Pooh's Honey Hunt. This is a trackless dark ride where you'll board a honey pod and join Pooh on an epic yet whimsical adventure to find some honey of his own. This one's super fun, again, because it's trackless, and you also bounce with Tigger in the funnest way ever on this particular ride. Then, of course, Happy Ride with Baymax. This is some of the same ride mechanics that Alien Swirling Saucers in Hollywood Studios uses and Mater's Junkyard Jamboree in DCA. There is literally nothing like technologically impressive about this, but what's super fun about this is its lore, right? The locals have really taken a fancy to this one, even going as far as to making up their own little dances to go along with the ride, which makes the experience 15 million times better. It's just so fun, and it's almost like you can't go to Tokyo Disneyland without riding Baymax's Happy Ride. It's a blast. Then there's Monsters, Inc. Ride and Go Seek. This equips you with a flashlight to help you spot hiding monsters and trigger little events with each new discovery. Super cute dark ride. And of course, the OG version of Splash Mountain is still here too. So if you ever start feeling a little too nostalgic, take comfort in knowing that Brer Rabbit and Co. are still singing Zippity Doo-Dah in a Disney park somewhere. Finally, we've made it over to the Florida parks. Magic Kingdom has the same good problem that Disneyland in California has. Tons of iconic rides to choose from, but only one can be declared the winner. And while I don't know if I 100% agree with the final ride that the DFB team and I have landed on as the best ride in this park, there's no denying that people love this one, locals and out-of-towners alike. This also took the gold in our ride bracket system, so we figured it kind of had to take the gold here. So we're crowning Haunted Mansion as the best ride winner for Magic Kingdom. And I say that reluctantly, not because I don't adore Haunted Mansion, which you know I do. I think it's amazing. It's got the stretching room pre-show, impressive special effects. It's got the Doom Buggy ride vehicles that are able to respond to the ride scene you're in, making you feel more like you're one of the happy haunts. Got hitchhiking ghosts that'll follow you home. But it feels weird to make this the winner and only have the Disneyland version out in California as the honorable mention, since I technically like that version more. But Pirates still absolutely deserve the W for Disneyland, so we'll give Haunted Mansion the W here. But if I was left to my own devices, there's a good chance I would have crowned my lovely little people mover as the king of the Florida castle. A popular opinion? No, not really. But as the self-proclaimed president of the unofficial People Mover fan club, I cannot let my love for this one go unmentioned. People Mover is one of a kind, literally, since they got rid of it in Disneyland. It carries you over the whole Tomorrowland area and through the shops and select Tomorrowland rides. It's got those models representing what Walt Disney originally planned for the Epcot theme park, and it's just super easy going all around. Also great views of the fireworks. And yes, if given the opportunity, I would ride it all day long. Thank you for asking. For more popular honorable mentions, I gotta call out some of those Fantasyland gems: Peter Pan's Flight, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So Peter Pan retells the classic Disney animated story by taking you above London and into Neverland for a fantastical escape in a world inhabited by those mermaids and pirates and our favorite sassy pixie Tinkerbell. It's also got a fun immersive queue where you can bring your own shadow to life and watch Tink fly about the nursery, leaving a little sparkle everywhere she goes. And Seven Dwarfs Mine Train was part of the 2012 new Fantasyland expansion and has since been one of the most popular rides across the entire park. During this family-style roller coaster, you'll join the Seven Dwarfs inside the gemstone mine, but not before your mine car gently sways side to side around an outdoor track. Now, before Big Thunder Mountain closed for its major renovations at the beginning of 2025, it could have been a solid option to add to the honorable mentions list. Who knows, after it reopens in 2026, to have a smoother track, a fresh story, and the return of the Rainbow Caverns, maybe it'll be worthy enough to dethrone Haunted Mansion. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Disney World has the most parks out of every Disney theme park destination out there, and that means you got a lot of rides to tackle the next time you visit. So if you need help conquering them all, go ahead and scan the QR code you see on the screen right now, or click on the link in the description for disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyRides. We're going to send you our free guide for knocking out every single ride across all 4 parks, as well as other tips and tricks to maximize your time when you're inside the most magical place on Earth. And we're back in California to tackle Disneyland's second park, Disney California Adventure, where we didn't struggle as much to come up with a first place winner, though that didn't mean the competition wasn't tough. Come on, we gotta give it to Radiator Springs Racers, aka the better version of Epcot's test track. Oh, did I say that out loud? Radiator Springs is part dark ride, part thrill ride, and it's 100% immersive. During the attraction, you'll get to meet your favorite Cars characters, Lightning McQueen, of course, Mater, Sally, Doc, and that scary bull tractor who's coming right for ya. But what makes this attraction really exciting is its re-rideability. Toward the end of the ride, right before your big race, you'll enter into one of 2 scenes. You'll either get new tires thanks to Luigi, Long Live the King, Tony Shalhoub, or you'll get a new paint job thanks to Ramon. And after that, brace yourself for some high-speed thrills as you race against another car full of guests to see whose car comes out on top. Again, a race I never, ever win, so if you're ever riding with me, get ready to not win. Disney California Adventure has a handful of impressive thrill rides that might be more intense than your average Disney attraction. So for our honorable mentions in this park, I gotta call out, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout and Incredicoaster. Mission Breakout was once the Disneyland version of Tower of Terror before it got its MCU makeover in 2017. Now you've got to team up with Rocket Raccoon to save the Guardians from the hands of the Collector, who's recently made Rocket's friends into a new installation within his fortress of trinkets and gizmos, where, by the way, he also has Figment, the purple dragon. Mission Breakout relies on randomized 60s, 70s, and 80s songs to make your experience a new one each time you ride, although the best one is obviously the Jackson 5 song. But on top of the randomized music, you've also got randomized drop sequences, so you never know how many free falls you might end up with during your particular ride through. Meanwhile, Incredicoaster, definitely for the thrill seekers out there, because as you help the Parr family track down baby Jack, you're going to experience a 0 to 55 mile per hour launch, an upside down loop, and plenty of super steep drops before it's all said and done. This, I will say, I have no trouble riding. There are some mega coasters I do have trouble riding, so I wouldn't put this in the mega coaster arena, but it is above your typical family coaster. Okay, how about one more brief little shout out to DCA's version of Soarin'. DCA's Soarin' Around the World has a queue that's lined with small galleries of photos titled California Aviators Wings of Fame. These highlight famous planes and flights and pilots throughout history, but if you ride this one during Disney California Adventure's Food and Wine Festival, it's very possible that Soarin' will switch over to become its original version, Soarin' Over California, which used to be available in both Epcot and DCA when the ride first opened. The ride was changed to Soarin' Around the World in 2016 after Shanghai Disneyland opened with their version of Soarin' called Soarin' Over the Horizon. But I sure am glad Disney didn't completely ditch the Soarin' Over California version that I've come to know and love, and that I can see it every once in a while. All right, let's head back to Japan, to my favorite Disney park in the whole wide world. Tokyo DisneySea. Again, much like the OG Disneyland Park, there's a lot of rides I want to shout out here, but we got to start with the best of the bunch. Now, I think you're going to be surprised by this one. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that this is the one that's going to win for us here, but there's reasons, okay? So let's talk about Anna and Elsa's Frozen Journey. Frozen Journey is part of Tokyo DisneySea's brand new Fantasy Springs expansion. It is absolutely incredible. During the ride, you'll sail through the sisters' childhood memories, sing along with Anna and Hans as they profess their shallow feelings toward one another, trek up the North Mountain to see Elsa let it go. For real, you get all of that. No shortcuts around the story here, which is why this is actually a pretty lengthy ride, clocking in at about 6.5 minutes. But the most impressive part of this entire ride, and the thing that actually wins it this coveted spot from all the other rides that want this spot, are the animatronics, because these are the most advanced animatronics that Disney has at the moment, right? Every single one is fluid and realistic. There's no weird projected on faces, at least they don't look weird. Even the side characters are incredible, the things that are going on the sets. Frozen Journey might be the best of the best, but it would be unfair to not at least point out some of the other Fantasy Springs rides that are also worthy of praise, like Rapunzel's Lantern Festival, most romantic ride in the world, and Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure. Rapunzel's ride is for everyone who's ever wanted to fully experience the lantern scene in Tangled. While you're not going to get as deep into the Tangled plot as you're going to get into the Frozen plot during Frozen Journey, the animatronics and sets throughout Punzies have their own breathtaking moments that'll cause those pinprick tears to well up in your eyes. This is more of a vibes ride than a clear storyline ride. It's kind of like you're floating through a dream and not through an actual movie. And while I think Neverland Adventure is probably the lesser of the three, this is still a fun trackless dark ride that uses a mix of 3D animation and practical sets to take you flying across the magical land. Oh, and don't forget about Tinkerbell's busy buggies in this area of the park. It's a super short journey, it is for kids, but we need to shout out Cheese the Mouse because we love Cheese the Mouse, don't we? Now, outside of Fantasy Springs, Tokyo DisneySea is also known for its mysterious island rides. Because yes, Tokyo DisneySea was my favorite park even before Fantasy Springs. So you know I'm not going to get through a video where I'm talking about DisneySea without talking about Journey to the Center of the Earth, which I'm still attempting to wrap my head around. This ride takes you into cavern realms where you'll suddenly come face to face with the giant lava monster who's just trying to protect her egg babies, and your big old submarine that looks way too intimidating for her liking means she hates you. Which means you're gonna have to put that pedal to the metal to save your hide. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, that's another one. It's a tamer version of Journey to the Center of the Earth, but instead of being chased by an angry lava monster mama, you'll take a semi-leisurely ride in one of Captain Nemo's submarines to help him search for the underwater city of Atlantis. And the thing that's wonderful about this ride is all the little underwater sea creatures that help you. Now, DisneySea's version of Tower of Terror is also really interesting. We got a whole new storyline for this one, following the story of Harrison Hightower, who is basically Joe Rohde, and he brings back a cursed statue from his travels, and it decides to go on a rampage, as cursed statues tend to do. Now, Harrison Hightower is quite the ladies' man. At least that's what's being depicted in the pictures around the ride exit and gift shop. Kind of makes me uncomfortable knowing that that's Joe Rohde. Anyway, the exterior of this ride is sublime. Then we head over to Nemo and Friends Sea Rider, another super popular attraction for the park. It's like Star Tours except Nemo. I don't really get it, but it has really long lines all the time. And then we got to shout out Sinbad's Storybook Voyage. I love this little dark ride because it has Shandu the tiger, who is basically the tiger stripe version of serotonin. And my team kind of makes fun of me for my unyielding passion for Aquatopia, but I don't care. I love this ride, even though I think they're going to replace it in their new expansion. Let's just not talk about it, as I have my two little Aquatopia ride vehicles here sitting on my desk and my Aquatopia keychain over here. Let's just not talk about it. Let's not talk about that they're probably going to get rid of this ride. Okay, we're done with DisneySea. I miss it. Okay, I will assuage or assuage or whatever that word is, my sadness for leaving DisneySea by heading over to the park of my heart, Epcot in Florida in Disney World. So Epcot has a wide range of different rides. You've got thrills, you've got chills, you've got protein spills. Looking at you, Mission Space. Let's all give Bria a little golf clap for that line overall though, right? Like that was pretty good, Bria. But I can't tell you how many times I've asked folks what their favorite Disney roller coaster is, and they've quickly responded with Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which I cannot disagree with any of those people. This thing is a blast, literally. Cosmic Rewind is a first-of-its-kind coaster. Not only is it one of the longest indoor coasters in the world, the show building is massive. They actually brought us in there as media when they were building it. It's the first and last time, I think, they've ever brought media into a construction zone like that. And it's massive. You can fit 4 spaceship Earths inside the building. But this is also the first backwards launch coaster for Disney. And I'm not done yet. Each of these Omnimover vehicles has the ability to spin 360 degrees, but even then, you're not spinning around in that thing like you're riding Mad Tea Party. The spinning on this ride is more so you can see everything that's going on around you. So think Haunted Mansion instead of Mad Tea Party, right? Even the queue is a huge part of the overall experience because during the phase chamber pre-show, which feels like one big magic trick, you start off in a tiny room and then you're transported into a much bigger room without you having to move an inch. But what fans really love about this Guardians themed attraction, at least it's what I love, maybe it's not what everybody loves, is the soundtrack, the randomized music, just like over at DCA's Mission Breakout. What can I say? Guardians and shuffled 80s tunes just go hand in hand. Everyone's got their favorite song that they might get on Guardians, and you just want to ride to see which song you get. Now, despite our Epcot winner being a ride that has a need for speed, our honorable mentions are going to slow things down. Because why? Because this is DFB Guide and I'm AJ, right? How on earth can we talk about the best rides in Epcot without mentioning the icon herself, Spaceship Earth? Spaceship Earth is a slow-going Omnimover ride that showcases the evolution of communication with Dame Judi Dench through the use of intricate sets and dozens upon dozens of animatronics. Plus, she really is the prettiest girl in school, and don't you forget it. For an even easier going ride, if you can imagine, Living with the Land is that slow-going boat ride that takes you on a leisurely tour through Epcot's greenhouses. The vibes are very strong with this one. And if we want to keep the theme of leisurely boat rides going, Grand Fiesta Tour starring the 3 Caballeros housed inside the Mexico Pavilion features Donald, Jose Carioca, and Panchito in a journey that takes you past the San Angel Inn restaurant, similar to Pirates going past Blue Bayou over in Disneyland. Apparently we have a thing for those types of rides, and around the impressive indoor Mayan pyramid for a journey that'll have everyone searching high and low for Donald so he can perform his big show-stopping number alongside his buddies. And the last shout out is for the Soarin' that exists here. Might be near the same as the one in DCA besides the theming of the queue, but Soarin' around the world and a trip around the world showcase just feels like a perfect day for the traveling spirits out there. Bonjour! We're over in Disneyland Paris now with another ride victory of the Haunted Mansion persuasion. After our team got back from Disneyland Paris recently, it was unanimously decided that everyone's favorite ride was Phantom Manor. Phantom Manor opened back in 1992, and while this version does have lots of similarities to the versions that preceded it, Phantom Manor's storyline actually focuses on the ghostly bride as the main character here instead of her being just a side character that you pass in one of the scenes. Phantom Manor is also known for being the darkest version of Haunted Mansion, and instead of coming across a graveyard at the conclusion of the ride, you're going to travel through the Phantom Canyon, which is like Frontierland if it were taken over by ghosts and ghoulies. But what other rides do we love that are honorable mention worthy? Hyperspace Mountain. This version of Space Mountain is by far the most unique version of Space Mountain to exist. Once upon a time, this coaster was a lot more focused on the Victorian/steampunk vibe, but in order to garner a little more popularity, Disneyland Paris switched it over to a classic space overlay around 2005, and in 2017, it got a more permanent Star Wars overlay featuring a revamped queue and props theme to the film franchise. Now, Hyperspace Mountain is my absolute favorite Space Mountain overlay, so I love that it exists in perpetuity somewhere in the world. Now, something else to note about this version of Space Mountain. It features an uphill catapult that launches riders from 0 to 44 miles per hour in 1.8 seconds and has 3 inversions, so be prepared. Also an honorable mention, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. The Paris version of BTMRR has recently had some much needed refurbishments to make it feel shiny and new again. And while the concept is pretty much the same as the Big Thunder concept that you'll find in Disneyland out in California, this one tends to feel a little more thrilling and has additional scenes. And in fourth place is Mad Tea Party. Even if you're not a fan of spinning teacup rides, the version of this one has our favorite aesthetics, with a canopy of lanterns that make it worth riding, especially at night when it's all lit up. All right, let's jump on our private jet and head over to Hong Kong Disneyland. And we're going to talk about Mystic Manor. I'm sorry. We've got another Haunted Mansion evolution that's taking the gold here. Mystic Manor is basically a big deviation from the classic Haunted Mansion, though. Using ghosts and spirits as an entertainment jump-off point is kind of taboo in China, so instead Disney created Mystic Manor, which stars Lord Henry Mystic, a respected member of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, right, the SEA, as well as his incredibly adorable monkey friend Albert. Now truly, we don't deserve characters like Albert the monkey and Chandu the tiger. They are too pure for this world. But we just have to let that guilt go, okay? So anyway, Mystic Manor is a museum that houses Lord Henry's fantastic collection of artifacts and art pieces. But when Albert gets a little too curious and activates one of the pieces that Lord Mystic warns him not to touch, inanimate objects are brought to life throughout the manor, giving you the chance to experience not a haunted mansion, but a mystical one. Hong Kong Disneyland's not a huge park, but it's got some solid honorable mentions to add to today's list too. The Big Grizzly Mountain Runaway Mine Cars, for instance, is like if you combine Big Thunder and Expedition Everest over in Animal Kingdom into one big old coaster, plus bears. And new to Hong Kong is the whole Hong Kong World of Frozen area, where you can find a version of Frozen Ever After similar to the one in Epcot. But the animatronics for Hong Kong's version of the ride are as high quality as the ones you find on Tiana's Bayou Adventure versus the screen-projected ones featured in Epcot. That being said, we recently got word that Epcot is planning on upgrading the Frozen Ever After animatronics in the future to look more like the ones in Hong Kong, which is some of the best news I've heard in a while. All right, we are back in Florida for Disney's Hollywood Studios. Let's talk about the best ride in all of DHS, which is, say it with me, Rise of the Resistance. At the shock of no one. Well, maybe at the shock of some people. There is definitely like a Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog Dash, Tower of Terror kind of thing that goes on in this park, but the majority of folks are likely going to say Rise of the Resistance if they are pushed to choose. Similar to the Remy situation, Rise of the Resistance in Hollywood Studios and the one out in Disneyland Park are near identical to each other, and they both speak the same language too. But we're going to use the version in Hollywood Studios to talk about just how awesome this ride really is. Rise of the Resistance is an ultra-immersive, trackless dark ride with impressive animatronics and a queue that's just as cool as the ride itself. The back-to-back pre-shows are a big part of this experience. In Room 1, you're going to meet Rey and BB-8 as they welcome you to the cause against the First Order. Then you'll board a transport ship piloted by Lieutenant Beck, which feels kind of like a ride in and of itself, since the window of this ship is going to show you flying over to your next destination. Spoiler alert approaching, just in case you haven't ridden this one yet, and if you want to experience it fresh, okay? All right. Suddenly, your ship is going to be hijacked by the First Order crew members, and you're going to be led to your holding cell, which means walking past that iconic room of stormtroopers that, yes, you can stop and take a picture of if you'd like. And some of them actually will move. Now, I love this ride, and I'm not even the world's biggest Star Wars fan. I've always been more of a Star Trek person myself, so for all you fellow TNG fans out there, here we are. But if I were choosing my personal favorite ride here, I'm going to have to go with Slinky Dog, but I'm cool with it being an honorable mention behind Rise of the Resistance. Good Old Slink is a colorful family coaster where you're shrunk down to the size of a toy and given the chance to ride around Andy's backyard via a stretchy, springy pup. And if you don't already love it based on that description alone, let me throw in a singing squeaker penguin to up the ante for you, although he's broken a lot. And hey, we can't forget about the creepy, spooky, ghoulish Tower of Terror, right? This is the OG version, which some might say makes it the best. Not to mention, this is the only version of Tower of Terror with the ability to lift your elevator out of the shaft, move it across the track as if you're in a dark ride, and then transport you to another elevator shaft where the actual ride drops are going to start to happen, and take your stomach with them. Okay, moving back over to China to Shanghai Disneyland. This is our last China park today, but it comes in a very big way. The best ride in this China park brings us full circle back to Pirates of the Caribbean, but this isn't your average Pirates of the Caribbean ride. This is Pirates of the Caribbean Battle for the Sunken Treasure. Battle for the Sunken Treasure blends screen technology with Disney's impressive animatronics and immersive sets to give us an entirely new perspective of the Pirates universe. And that Davy Jones animatronic playing the organ literally chills. You do not want to mess with that guy. Before Magic Kingdom went and built their own Tron coaster ride, though, Shanghai Disneyland was the sole keeper of the light cycles, and that's why we're excited to get Tron Light Cycle Run in the States, because Shanghai Disneyland made it look so cool. Tron Light Cycle Power Run is a high-speed coaster where riders will blast through a high-tech world in the ultimate race against Team Orange. And one of the most unique parts about it is the fact that you'll ride this coaster as if you're on the back of a light cycle, so you'll be straddling this one just like you will for the version in Magic Kingdom. But let's not forget the new ride Zootopia Hot Pursuit. This is the headliner for Shanghai's newer Zootopia area. During this dark ride, you'll be assigned to backup Officer Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, who is now officially a police officer, by the way, in a police chase full of action, colorful scenes, and stunning, literally stunning animatronics. Okay, per the release of this video, Walt Disney Studios Park is still called Walt Disney Studios Park. But in 2026, the second Disneyland Paris park is going to be taking on a new persona and going by Disney Adventure World from here on out. Way better, right? That means new theming, new restaurants, new rides, and even a brand new World of Frozen area. But since all that newness is still in future tense, I'm going to tell you what the best ride is in this park right now. And that's Crush's Coaster. Crush's Coaster is a spinning roller coaster themed after that totally righteous sea turtle from Finding Nemo. The ride starts almost like a dark ride, taking you through some scenes that might make you feel like you're on the seas with Nemo and friends back at Epcot, but then you're lifted up the track and plunged into darkness in a coaster ride that feels like the classic version of Space Mountain transformed into a Wild Mouse coaster. Now, you might still be caught up on our Epcot list and thinking, hold on AJ, what about Remy's Ratatouille Adventure? And that is fair because Remy is a fun trackless dark ride. But this adventure originated out in Walt Disney Studios Park, so I thought it'd be fair to talk about it now and allow its home park to do us the honors of shouting it out. Remy's ride in Disneyland Paris has you shrinking down to the size of a fellow rodent so that you can scamper through a kitchen out in Paris, much like they do in the Ratatouille film, all while narrowly escaping the clutches of Chef Skinner. This one's near identical to what you're going to find in Epcot, just with more French words. So if you've ridden it at Epcot, you don't actually have to ride it here, but this is the original. Now, want to see what a reimagined rock and roller coaster is like? Because Avengers Assemble Flight Force is the reimagined rock and roller coaster out in Paris. So expect a high-speed launch, upside-down loops, and dark indoor coaster thrills, but fewer stretch limos and more Iron Man suits. And I must say, the Tower of Terror here used to be pretty watered down compared to the one in Hollywood Studios, but it's amped up the scare factor lately by adding 3 new randomized spooky stories to the mix. And we finally made it to our final park in Orlando, Disney's Animal Kingdom. I will try not to be as eager about my answer for Animal Kingdom's best ride as I was about Hong Kong's, but I'm also not going to leave you in too much suspense either, because Flight of Passage is like no other ride I've experienced. It probably is my favorite ride in the world. Now, I know I say People Mover, Spaceship Earth, those are the rides of my heart, my nostalgic favorite rides, but if someone said to me, you have to bring someone new to Disney World and they can only ride one ride, I would probably put them on Flight of Passage. This is like Soarin', but instead of sitting on a glider-like bench, you're on the back of a Banshee. It's like a Tron light cycle. And during your journey, you're going to come face to face with fantasy creatures, bioluminescent caves, incredible smells, splashes of water, tons of banshees, both good and not so good. But the main ride isn't all you have to look forward to with this one. Each room inside the queue takes you through the story of Pandora's discovery and conservation. So you're going to explore carved hallways decorated with intricate Na'vi paintings and art pieces, Pandora's famous bioluminescent plant life, and a full-on lab where the scientists of the Pandora Conservation Initiative conduct their research. Plus, you're going to see that Avatar animatronic inside a giant test tube, which I think the cast members call Hank in the Tank, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. Because of all the major construction happening as Animal Kingdom starts to work on their new Tropical Americas area, Pueblo Esperanza, This park really is lacking in the ride department at the moment, but the rides that they do have are really, really good. So even these Animal Kingdom honorable mentions should be highly regarded. I mentioned Expedition Everest just a second ago, but now it's time to give it its own spotlight. Expedition Everest is Animal Kingdom's one and only coaster that'll send you into the mountains, speeding backwards, taking on sharp embankments, plummeting down the mountain, all while trying to escape the clutches of a rather cranky Yeti and trying not to throw up. And then there's Kilimanjaro Safaris, which is a fully fleshed out 18+ minute guided tour where you're gonna see dozens upon dozens of real live animals who call Animal Kingdom home, all while your safari guide gives you facts about each species and informs you of ways you can help out our animal friends continue to thrive, even when your vacation comes to an end. So I know some of y'all out there are itching to tell everyone about which Disney rides are your favorites, as well as the ones you're looking forward to riding the most. So let's keep the discussion going in the comments and talk about even more noteworthy Disney rides that you want to talk about. If you want to learn more about Disney World rides in particular, make sure to check out some of our other Disney World ride-centric videos like the new rules for Disney World rides, which has been a big hit lately. And don't forget to download that free guide that'll help you ride every single Disney World ride over at disneyfoodblog.com/Disney rides. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.